So Mom says that she bought a very important business suit to talk to you guys with because she has something very important to talk to you about.
Yes, folks, this is serious, which is
Why the phones are ringing.
Which is why I bought this. Hey, I have a silence button. Look at that. I have 2 phones.
That's how important you are.
Yeah. My arms don't reach that far. Anyways, very serious conversation, which is why I'm wearing my most expensive business suit. I bought this for business. It's a suit. It's a business suit. Anyways, shipping. And we seem to have this shipping talk every year, so I'm going to make it super simple. When you go to the shopping cart page, there's right at the top, there's red letters explaining our shipping to you. If you would just please, I beseech you, read it. It's only going to take 60 seconds. It's mostly about cold packs and hot weather and that sort of thing. If you don't read it and you don't choose the correct type of shipping, it's just going to slow things down for me because now I have to figure out how much it will cost. And then I have to contact you. Then I have to wait for you to get back to me. So it slows things down for me, but slows things down for you because I'm not going to ship your order if I know it's going to melt. So I just won't ship it. I have to wait to hear from you. And some people don't answer their email or their phones. Fancy that. So it would be super helpful if you could just read what's here. It will take you 1 minute, and if you're not shipping internationally, you can ignore number 8 because it's about international. So now it's only going to take you like 55 seconds. So please, I beg of you, read it and believe it. I'm not making any money off shipping. I'm just trying to get it to you in the best way possible. There's one of me, and there's 35,000 customers in our database. So there's one of me and 35,000 of you. So it takes me 5-10 minutes for each email. So if you could save me that time, I could leave here before 10 o'clock at night. Last night I left at 20 to 10, so that's winning a little bit. But if you could help me get home by 9 o'clock while Steve's still awake, then we could talk about more candy. That would be swell. So Steve and I could spend more quality time together. Because this isn't quality time. This is Steve, get to work time. So if you could do that so that we could play more Scrabble and stuff, we would so appreciate that.
When was the last time you guys played Scrabble?
1986?
Okay.
I think I gave it away.
Yeah. We played Scrabble with Dad when we were younger.
We did?
There's Junior.
Oh, yeah, I think we did.
Is it Scrabble Real or Scrabble Junior?
Probably Junior.
Yeah, I've got Words with Friends on my phone. Or just words with myself.
All right, well, I guess we'll go to the interview then.
Anyways, that's my serious conversation. Please read the shipping stuff. Read it, believe it. Thank you. Love ya.
So this is what the people have been asking for a long time.
What?
An interview with you.
Really?
Yeah.
An interview?
Yeah. Well, they wanted to know kind of like any stories from like growing up. And then also, I mean, I know we have like a history of the Hercules Candy channel on this channel.
Yeah.
But if you could just talk briefly about the history of it and then go into when you first started, what it was like growing up, and, did you grow up the whole time above Hercules? What it was like being a parent at Hercules, parenting kids,
Okay, why don't you ask me something?
I'm just telling you sort of what we're going to be doing. So, why don't you just start with like the history as far back as you know?
The history of Hercules?
Yeah.
As far as I know, back in the day, you didn't have to have a license or permits or anything to open up a business. So this was around the early 1900s, and we don't know the exact date when they opened. We just go by pictures, what my father and my uncle said, and by even we have one receipt from 1917, and so we're just kind of guessing approximately how old the business is, and as far as when I started going to the store with my father, I was just like a 5-6-year-old kid, and I'd go in there with my uncles. We're all working, and they get me a stamp pad with an ink pad with a stamp, big old stamp, and I'd stamp white paper bags with Hercules Candy Company on it. That was like my first job I had.
Were you really excited to be part of the business?
Oh yeah, I thought that was great when I
Yeah.
was little, you know. So I'd go in there and stamp bags all the time for them and make up labels. They stamped their own labels and everything back in the old days.
Yeah.
And then eventually when I got to be 11, 12 years old, then they started to teach me how to do the chocolate.
And back in the day, you did it with bare hands, right?
Yeah, back then, yeah, everything was bare hands, yeah. But we did, you know, we did use soap and water before
Yeah.
we made candy. at
Wash your hands even back then.
At least we did that.
Yeah. Did you guys have to wear hats back then?
No, there was no hats.
Huh.
No.
Nothing. No. So do you remember your father teaching you like how to temper chocolate?
Yeah, he would set me down with a kettle and I would put my hand in the chocolate and then he would put the chocolate on the table and he said, okay, you feel the temperature of it, okay, and then he'll call me back when the temperature is just right on the table, which was, 2 or 3 minutes or whatever it was. And then I could feel how cold it was. And he said, no, if you can feel that, that's how you know when to use it.
Yeah.
So that's how I was taught. There were no thermometers,
Yeah.
nothing like, you just touched it and that's how it's supposed to feel and then you can use it. And that's how I learned how to hand dip, all by feel.
Yeah.
And then hard candies and brittles and all that, I would just, I would step in with my uncles and my father and step back and try to do it and then step in, step back and forth. I would never be able to do whole batches of anything.
Yeah.
I would just try a little bit here and there. And then eventually you get the idea of what you're supposed to do and how to do it, and then you end up doing the whole batch.
Yeah.
But
And-
it took a long time though.
Yeah. And did you didn't grow up the whole time above Hercules, did you?
No, we lived in Fremont when I was just in elementary school, and then Fremont, New York, and then we went after that to 6th grade till 8th grade out in Pompey. I went to Pompey Fabius School, and then from there we moved back here to East Syracuse where the homestead was, where the candy shop was, to take care of my grandmother. She lived on the first floor and we lived on the 2nd floor, and that's when the candy shop was all in the basement where people would just walk right down
Yeah.
all hours of the day. And even when I was working at 10 o'clock at night with my father for the holidays, people would come down the stairs. Oh, I saw the lights on, so I knew you guys were making candy. Is it okay if I come in? And we'd be like, yeah, come on in. It was a different time.
So
And-
when they saw the lights on, that the only light that they could really see though was in the driveway, right?
Yeah, the driveway basement window.
Yeah, that was it. And I think I remember some like older people coming in saying, when I was little, I used to have my face pressed up against that window watching your father make candy.
Yeah, even Ron Russell used to be the mayor here, and his family. When he was little, he would lay on the driveway and look down the basement window watching us make candy. A lot of people said when they were little kids in the village, they'd lay down on the driveway, and then my grandfather would have them come in. He'd
Yeah.
tell them, "Come on in," and then he'd give them all a piece of candy and stuff.
So they're okay with that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was kind of neat.
Yeah. So, what did you learn first, as far as like hard candy, candy canes, brittle,
The
making cream?
the chocolate first.
Yeah.
And then once I learned the chocolate, then I learned how to do brittle. Me and my father used to make brittle on Saturdays when I was in high school. That's when he would say, just make a couple batches and then you can go.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd be like, oh, well, maybe one more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then they get done with that one. They go, can you do one more? All right. And then pretty soon, you know, it's like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I stayed because I knew he needed the brittle, so.
Yeah. So when before you came back to take care of your grandma, who was running the shop?
Well, my Uncle Nick and my Uncle John and my Uncle Herc all took turns for like maybe 2 to 3 years at a time just to keep the business alive. For my grandmother didn't want it to die off, and she kept telling them not to let it go. They all had really good jobs, post office, railroad, GE, they all worked. And they didn't really want to do the candy, but they just kept doing it for their mother.
Yeah.
And so it was just bounced around between the brothers until my father had it last. And then I learned how to make all the candy, and then I opened it back up after 1977 because my parents got a divorce when I was in high school. While I was a senior. And it was closed for 5 years, and I worked at different places, and Carrier Corporation, I worked at gas stations, I worked at stores, I worked at Dave Brothers, which is that's an old store, it's gone. And
Like a department store?
yeah, old department store.
Yeah.
And I worked at jobs, and I finally realized I really did like the candy.
Yeah.
After doing all that, and then I reopened it in 1977,
Yeah.
and I went to the village office in East Syracuse first and asked everybody, would it be okay if I opened up again? And everybody was there. Yeah, they were all thrilled.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, open up. Yeah, that'd be great. So I got just verbal permission from everybody down there. Nothing in writing, but I reopened up the candy shop.
Yeah.
In the same place, and they raised you kids there, and we remodeled the first floor though in 1992,
Yeah.
and me and Mike, Terry's brother, and we took out the walls and painted it, put windows in. And that was the candy shop display area, and then it was downstairs was just making candy. So that was the big move at the time.
Yeah.
And then raising you guys there upstairs of the shop. You got sick with your autoimmune disease.
Well, that was pretty far
was-
after we were
yeah.
getting raised. Though. It's like
Yeah.
it was probably relatively convenient though. Like when you're raising your kids and being able to have them upstairs. You guys had a baby monitor down the basement, so you couldn't hear us. all the
Yeah,
time.
we had babysitters all the time when you guys were little, but at the time too, we could have moved back then, but then we decided to stay there because for you kids, so we could be there with the kids right there.
Yeah.
And so we just stayed there. And yeah, then once you guys were old enough that we didn't need babysitters anymore, we still had a baby monitor on.
Yeah.
And you guys were good though, you didn't do anything bad. And
Didn't you say that you could hear us talking about, like, I think I know where the baby monitor is? Like, we were, like, trying to find it or something?
yeah, Carol made me laugh all the time. She was always trying to look for it. Where is it, Dad?
Where'd you guys hide it?
Well, actually it broke
Oh, yeah?
after a while, and we didn't even have it anymore, but Carol kept thinking we had it up there still.
Yeah.
And she kept, where is it, Dad? I know you got it up here. And I'd laugh because I knew it was broken and it
Yeah.
didn't work anymore. And we didn't never really have it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But we didn't really need it. You
Yeah.
guys were okay.
Yeah. Didn't you say you could hear us a couple times, like, trying to sneak peeks at the presents that you guys got us for Christmas?
Oh yeah, there'd be
We thought we were sneaky.
like Leah went down to Terry's office and she moved stuff around and didn't put them back. And then she left the flashlight there, I think, too. So, you know, it was pretty obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, little kids always think they're pretty sly.
Yeah. But they're not.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely nice having you guys there, because I'm not every time, but sometimes after I come home from school, I'd come downstairs and just talk to you guys about, like, you know, what school was like, and you guys are like, did you learn anything? Sometimes we're like, no, we didn't learn anything. And then other times I'd, you know, tell you something interesting that I learned. I think when I started taking anatomy class, because that's what my first class that I really liked when I was in high school, I mean, other than gym class, that was the first class that I learned stuff that I was like, wow, that's so cool. And then I'd, like, tell you guys stuff. Yeah, fun times. Yeah, it was probably, well, I mean, I don't really know any other life growing up other than having a candy store underneath us, but it was kind of weird that it's okay, Karen's just banging around.
Even
but,
Karen saw you guys when you were little.
Yeah.
And the what, Karen?
They said
Remember
that
what? Remember the kids were in the kitchen in the what? The
They were in a
play
playpen.
playpen. They were in
And
the.
I walk by every time and I go, there's two of them. So twins weren't real popular.
Yeah, we
They are now.
they had them. We had the twins down in the candy shop when they were little.
Mm-hmm.
So until got to a point where we could get a babysitter,
Yeah.
and then it was really hard to get babysitters that were sane, or ones that didn't sleep all the time, or
Yeah.
ones that fed you, or you wouldn't think it would be that hard.
The bare minimum, basically.
But yeah, to find somebody to, but it was hard.
Remember to feed the kids, try not to fall asleep, and don't be crazy.
Yeah. And then we found Helen. She was like in her 80s, and I thought she was only in her 60s.
Oh, really?
And she was great with you guys when you were little.
Yeah.
She took care of you guys. She knew what to do. And Kara would have a fit or get mad or something, and she would just have Kara lay down on the couch and put a blanket on her, and that would settle her down when she was little. Or Kara needed to be rocked in her arms when she was little, and she took the time to do all the right things.
Mm.
She was great.
Yeah.
Remember, we used to go when you guys got older and we see her. She was like in her 90s.
Mm.
We'd go see her on her birthday.
Yep.
And bring pizza to her
Yeah.
and stuff, and go see her. That was fun.
Yeah.
She was a really nice lady.
Yeah, she was.
She was great.
She was definitely a favorite babysitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, it was weird because if we ever had friends over, even if we were just walking around the house, we always had to be like really quiet because like if we had friends over, we'd be like, shh, we have customers downstairs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other questions? So, and then, like, well, okay, so you were going to say about my autoimmune disease.
Yeah. Then that happened, and autoimmune disease, and when that happened, you came home from college and said your feet weren't feeling right,
Yeah.
and
My feet and
Yeah.
my legs and everything.
yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I was getting, like, numb, tingly sensations, and I was just getting weaker and weaker, like, by the day and stuff. And the worst part was not having the diagnosis.
Yeah, they couldn't figure out what was wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for a long
Well,
time.
luckily, you kind of figured it out, right?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome, and my doctor was like, "Oh yeah, you'll get better without any treatment. It's usually it usually is a pretty temporary autoimmune disease." But it turns out I actually had the chronic form, but I actually found that out through Googling and YouTubing, which is why I started my own YouTube channel, because I was like, well, if I found out something so life-changing from YouTube, the least I could do is, help someone else out with that.
Yeah.
So then I sent an email to my neurologist and was like, hey, I actually don't think I have Guillain-Barré syndrome. I think I actually have chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, or CIDP. And then he got me in the next day. He's like, yep, that's what you have. So then he started me on treatment and stuff. But it was nice having you guys there, obviously. Like, that was the best time for me to get it because
Yeah.
you guys were home, Kara was home, and I could always just be like, "Hey, Kara, who wants to get me some water?" Because I was paralyzed, I couldn't move really. I could sort of walk around the house a little bit with forearm crutches. I mean, I couldn't even stand up on my own. My legs just felt like they're like 1,000 pounds. So if you're walking around with crutches, it's not very easy to carry water or food or anything. So you guys always had to like make me food and
Yeah.
water. And luckily, like because I wasn't able to move, my appetite was greatly decreased. So I didn't have to eat too much at least. But it was nice always knowing that you guys were there. If I needed you, because you basically had to take care of me.
Yep.
And then, so let's talk about what it was like when I first started when I made the first video for you guys.
Oh yeah.
What was going through your head when I was like, all right, well, I want to make a recipe video of the ribbon candy.
Yeah, you came down and said that you wanted to put it on YouTube, and I remember thinking, okay, I don't know if anybody's going to really watch it,
Yeah.
but sure.
Yeah, I didn't really know if people were really going to watch it either. Like, I didn't expect to make a whole new channel. I thought it'd just be like one video and then go back to the rest of my channel.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I shot the video the way that I did, with just us just having banter back and forth, because that kind of paved the way for the rest of the channel. Because
Yeah.
it's not like, you look at like Lofty Pursuits and he does like voiceovers, and like I could have done that, but I'm glad I did it the way that I did, because this feels more authentic to us, because we just like talk and have banter back and forth.
Yeah, you were just showing
everyday life.
us making the candy, and
Yeah.
that's just the way we are.
Yeah, because it was not very polished.
No.
And I shot that on my iPod Touch, so it wasn't even like a nice camera or anything. So
Yeah.
I know people ask me sometimes, like, tips for starting a channel, or like what camera should they use, and like, yeah, I have a really nice camera now, but I actually started YouTube with just using my laptop webcam.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got an iPod Touch, and then eventually I upgraded to a real camera, but you don't have to start with anything fancy. I mean, you started your Hercules business with just like all the, you had all the materials and stuff at the store, but all you had was $500 in your pocket to go get some chocolate, and
Yeah.
And that was
That's yeah. All the knives and kettles and a marble table was all there, and I just had to clean everything all up, and then I had worked at Carrier, and I saved $500 back in 1977. That was probably like $2,000
Yeah.
now.
yeah.
And bought chocolate, sugar, and corn syrup, and started it up.
Yeah. So so you graduated from high school, and then you said you got a bunch of jobs, and the store was just basically shut down for like 7 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Yep.
And you were saying that you were working on the line at Carrier, and then some guy was retiring.
Yeah, I remember working on the line at Carrier and looking down, and I thought, the guy's retiring down there, and I thought, oh, no, I can't do this like that. It's
Yeah.
okay for now, but
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Just working on like an assembly line, making air conditioners.
Yeah, which was paying you good money, insurance and everything was great, and then they laid me off, and it was a big, huge layoff in the 70s, and then I never got called back, and I saved all my money, and I thought, well, why don't I reopen the candy business again, and I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for a while, it was just you, right?
Yeah, it was just me, so I was doing I started out only doing like maybe 500 pounds of chocolate for maybe just Christmas. No, that's not much.
Yeah.
But I started out and got business back, and I put an ad in a local penny saver, a Scotchman at the time it was called, and it was in the village, and everybody was so glad they came down that I reopened again. People were really happy that I opened up again. That was nice to see and hear.
Yeah. And I remember growing up, you had signs that you made that you put on telephone poles that would be like arrows pointing towards Hercules.
Yep. I made my own signs out in front of the place. I drew them all up and painted them, and that's even the sandwich sign I made my own.
Yeah.
I I drew it all on there and painted it and did it myself.
Yeah. And what were those made of? Those like cardboardish ones that you put on the telephone poles?
All those we had made
Yeah.
from, because the first time we ever did TV, that was part of the TV commercials. It would be part of the commercial. At the end of the commercial would be like, follow the arrows to Hercules Candies. So I had to go out and put these little arrows with Hercules on it, like all over the village.
Yeah.
I asked the village too for permission, and they said, yeah, go ahead.
It's a really clever way to put up signs all over the village for your store.
Yeah, and they said they didn't care.
Yeah.
So,
Do you still put those up?
no, not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you guys got enough business now.
But yeah, we used to do TV back in the 80s, which really elevated. I got a lot more business, but then eventually in the 90s, TV didn't work anymore.
Yeah.
It started going down. For all the money that it cost, we didn't get money back
Yeah.
for it. So it was like we stopped doing that. And then the next way we started to advertise basically was just with Facebook
Yeah.
and having people come in and fill out for contests and then for getting on our email list to get a free candy bar for every $5 they spent for that came in.
Yeah.
So
Through like Facebook and email mostly.
yeah, and so that worked out pretty good
Yeah.
for people to remind people that the holidays are coming up, and we would make it very simple and quick, nothing drawn out big paragraphs or anything. Just make it so that people would just glance at it at least. We didn't want to glaze people's eyes over.
Yeah.
You know, I know when I get an email, if it's long, I don't really want to read it. So if I just read short ones,
Too long didn't read.
so that's what we did, and it worked out pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So, do you remember what it was like when we first started getting orders online from YouTube?
Oh yeah, it was a thrill.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, I didn't even expect that really, but
Yeah,
it was,
no.
it was cool though. Like people would go to the website just from seeing videos and then order.
yeah.
'Cause-
We were back at the house, we were only doing like maybe 14 packages a week, and I thought, wow, that's great.
Yeah, because before YouTube, you guys were doing how many a week? You think?
2 a year.
2 a year. and then it was 14 a week, so that's
Yeah.
like 2 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Oh,
Yeah.
big increase.
Yeah, yeah, and then eventually, I remember seeing the hallway just like filled with packages, and I was like, "Whoa!" This
Yeah,
is
we
really
at
nuts.
Christmas time we always get corporate orders. We always that would be somebody would come and order, well, maybe 50 1-pound boxes of assorted chocolates, and then we get another order for 25 2-pound boxes and 100 1-pound boxes, and we get a lot of orders for assorted chocolates and trays of candy, and Christmas time was corporate time, and yeah, that's why the back hallway was filled for UPS to pick up a whole wall of candy, but that was the only time of year it happened.
Yeah,
And now here at the new place, it's almost kind of like that now all the time.
yeah,
Maybe not every day, but
yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Mondays usually are like the shipping days here because a video will go up on Friday, so people will have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and part of Monday to place orders. So that's like 4 days worth of orders going
Yeah,
out.
50 to 100 packages or so, and
Yeah.
sometimes more.
So I know people have asked before if we're ever planning to expand or open up another store. So we're
No, we can't.
Yeah.
We invested so much money into this building, and we can't. It's
And plus, with so many online orders, having another location wouldn't necessarily increase sales or anything. It wouldn't really give you like a very big return on your investment.
yeah, no, I wouldn't. Because sometimes you think, oh yeah, it'd be great, but just like I've seen lots of businesses expand too fast.
Yeah.
and then it takes all your money.
Yeah.
So now you're out.
Yeah, and like, especially since it's not just buying another, or like, you know, renting another building, it's also getting another table, another,
Yeah, it's
other kettles.
and
other,
remodeling the whole building.
Yeah.
You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So.
Because I know there's a lot of people in Australia and England and stuff that want to try our candy, and you know, people in England can, but it's so expensive that I think a lot of people don't want to do that, which is completely understandable.
Do what?
Just pay for the shipping.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's why I
yeah.
think a lot of people are asking. Like, we actually have a decent amount of people from India asking if we could open up a store there.
Yeah.
So we have like a lot of Indian followers.
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of people
nice.
From Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're still just mom and pop.
Yeah.
We're not rich.
Yeah.
You know. We're doing better, but we're still, you know, small.
Yeah. And you guys don't really have any plans for expansion or anything anytime soon. I mean, after
It's-
the lease is up, you guys could just move everything to a bigger building, which I think you guys could already
Yeah,
use.
that would be better, but yeah, for now we still have a lease here, so
Yeah.
we gotta honor it.
Well, what do you think you would need for the next lease? Like, you guys have, what, 3,000 square feet here or something?
It's 3,700 square
Oh, wow.
feet, and it's not enough. I would say 10,000 would be better.
That's what I was thinking too, 10 or even 12,000.
Yeah.
'Cause I know there was one building that we were looking at, but they just kept getting cold feet. So
Yeah, they kept changing their minds about how
Yeah.
much space they wanted to rent us and where in the building they wanted to rent us. And it was like, okay, that's enough. You're wasting, week after week would go by and it'd be like, okay, this is enough. And then we
Yeah.
finally decided we're done.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to something else.
yeah,
And we just left them.
yeah. And this karate studio opened up. Was it like a little bit before?
It's been sitting here for a year, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think Chris Shields, I think it was like one of the guys who.
From the village,
Works at
yeah, he works at Ease too. He works in the village for the recycling department, or what do you call it?
Mhm. Yeah, and then he just told Mom, "Hey, that karate studio is available
Yeah.
to be a candy store."
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He came over and
Do you know? I mean, I don't remember, but do you remember what this place was before the karate studio?
I was told it was an auto parts store.
Huh. Okay.
So that was, I don't know when that was.
Auto parts store, karate studio, candy
Yeah.
store.
Yeah,
This building's seen it all.
still got hairdressers on the end.
Yeah.
They're the ones that own the building.
Yeah. So, do you have any plans for the future for Hercules?
Just work hard and try to get all the orders out.
You're not thinking too far in advance. Just thinking until Easter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all for now.
But yeah, once summer starts up, I know like with everything going on, maybe it would be tough to try taffy, but we could probably try like more like sour candy that we've been threatening to try.
Yeah, there are a couple things I want to try and stuff, but and then the taffy possibly, if we can get the guy from Stones to come down and show us how to operate the machine and stuff, and
Because he's the one who sold it to us, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, good interview, Dad. I'm sure people
Yeah.
can let us know in the comments if there's any other questions that they want to know. Because there honestly wasn't like a whole lot going on today. Dad just making nut cups all day, and Max is, I think, just chocolate covering chips on the enrober. So I was like, you know what? I guess today would probably be a good day to just interview Dad, because I know people wanted to know some stories and like history of not just the store, because we have a video on this history of the store, but the history of like you growing up and learning everything too.
No, hope it wasn't too boring.
Yeah. I don't think it was, but good job, Dad.
Okay.